Hi, thank you once again for having me. We're still in the fight against this COVID 19, but there are some other things that we have to look at to help us not to get the COVID 19 or not to be end up at the hospital and then get the COVID 19. And one of the things we're going to look at is how vitamin D helps the immune system during cold and flu season. How vitamin D helps the immune system during cold and flu season. And I found this information on the pharmacytimes.com. I was, researching. I keep hearing that we need vitamin D. Vitamin D works, helps in the fight against COVID-19 and stuff. So I decided to look at, how does that work? So because sometimes when we get the understanding of how something works, then that is when we tend to kind of like apply, to our lives. And it's just to encourage us, to make vitamin D either the supplements or eat foods that has vitamin D in it, to help our immune system. And all these informations are online, so we can, do more research to find out how we can all come together and fight this battle. There are so many stories, out there on what is happening to people, and one of the things that, is out there, it's people that have a low level on vitamin D. The disease really affects them a lot. And it's not only the COVID-19, but some of the research I did, even during the 1918 the flu pandemic, they realized also that people with low vitamin D were being hit a lot. So, vitamin D is something that can help us, boost our immune system. So this is what I found out on that website. You can always go there and read more. There is more information there, but I just took some, so we can, educate ourselves or inform ourselves on some of the things we can do to be able to help us in this battle. It says there are vitamin D receptors and activating enzymes on the surfaces of all white blood cells. So when we know, the white blood cells, that helps in fighting diseases, and stuff in our system. See, the role that vitamin D plays in keeping the immune system healthy is very complex because the immune system has to be perfectly balanced. If there is too much stimulation, autoimmune disease can set in. If there is not enough immune system activity, frequent infections can occur. It says low levels of vitamin D have also been associated with frequent infections. Low levels of vitamin D have also been associated with frequent infections. In 2009, the National Institute of Health warned that low vitamin D levels are associated with frequent colds and influenza. Frequent colds and influenza. And it says that, and so it appears that vitamin D helps keep the immune system balanced, much like a gymnast walking on a balance beam. And I think I shared my a story about how, taking milk and honey has helped my health a lot, because I frequently get sick, but this time there's a very big change. And even one of my coworkers was asking me that, it's like every year I get sick, either in September or in February, and they kind of like have that knowledge. But this last year, September, I didn't. This year, February, I didn't. So I was, when she mentioned that, you know, I also looked at what am I doing different, you know, because I normally get this sinus infection that keep me at home for like a week, and I have to take antibiotics, you know, and all that. So I'm like, what am I doing that is different, you know? And I realized that I'm drinking milk and honey. I stopped using regular sugar, and I was using honey as my sugar, and I was drinking milk, you know, and that brought a change, you know, which proves that what the research, you know, all this research is saying is true. That when you have vitamin D in your system, you know, it helps balance your immune system, and then it helps fight infections, you know. So that is why I'm sharing this, because it's not like they're just saying I have experienced that. It says since the NIH announcement, there have been many studies to determine the best regimen of vitamin D supplementation and to better understand this association. In 2017, a large analysis of prospective clinical trials showed that taking vitamin D reduces the odds of developing a respiratory infection by approximately 42% in people with low baseline levels of 25 hydroxy vitamin D, below 25 ng/ml. So there are studies that are showing how vitamin D can help the respiratory fight against respiratory infections. You know, so that is why, you know, we have to make sure that we have the levels of vitamin D that we need to be able to balance our immune system so we can fight all these respiratory infections. And remember, COVID-19 is a respiratory infection, so if only we can have vitamin D, it will help us fight that too. It says that the analysis suggests that taking vitamin D daily or weekly was more effective than larger doses taken in single or monthly boluses. So everything is right there, you know, all this information I got online trying to tell us how important vitamin D is, you know, and if we make that part of our diet daily, it will help us, you know, in the fight against respiratory infections and also the fight against the COVID-19. It says also, you know, over there is a lot of information that, the vitamin D has what we call the peptides that can kill viruses, bacteria, you know, and all that, you know. And one of the places where we can find vitamin D, it's in milk. So I would encourage us to make vitamin D part of our daily diet, you know, so it can help boost our immune system, balance our immune system, so we'll be able to fight the cold, the flu, and this COVID-19. This flu season, it is important for pharmacists to convey that daily and weekly vitamin D supplementation helps keep the immune system balanced during the cold and flu season. You know, and like I said, all this information is online. The website is there, the pharmacytimes.com. You know, I'm saying this just to encourage us, you know, to be able to fight against this disease. And me, you know, adding milk and honey to my diet, I saw the results. And not only me seeing the result, but, you know, my coworkers also are seeing that, you know, that there is something going on here. You've not been sick like you always get sick, you know. And what I did different is by changing, you know, my diet, adding milk and honey to my diet, and vitamin D was in that milk, and that it's what is helping me to fight, you know, the cold, the flu, and other illnesses and stuff. So here is another thing. It says coronaviruses attach to cells via the ACE2. And then it says also that vitamin D might reduce ACE2s. And the fact is, all coronaviruses attach to ACE2 enzyme in human cells. Suspected. Vitamin D reduces ACE2 enzyme. Fact, all previous human coronavirus are fought by vitamin D. Hypothesis, vitamin D will also fight the new form of coronavirus, COVID-19. And the website is there. We can go there and then read more of that. So I want to really encourage us to make vitamin D part of our daily diet, in helping to fight against all these respiratory illnesses. In addition to honey, like I said in my previous presentation, this thing worked for me, and I believe that if it worked for me, it could work for you as well. Our immune system is what helps in fighting these respiratory illnesses, these diseases, and all that. So let's make sure we have the levels that we need with our vitamin D, and it will help. Now, whenever I talk about, the milk and the honey and how it helps in fighting against these respiratory disorders or illnesses and stuff, people always bring up how when they drink milk, it hurts their stomach. I am like that too. When I drink regular whole milk, it hurts my stomach. So I stopped drinking it. This is my own personal testimony I want to share. I stopped drinking milk completely. Then one day I felt sick. I had some bumps on my body, itchy and all that stuff. So I went to the clinic, and the doctor told me that I'm having vitamin D deficiency, like I'm low on vitamin D. So when I go home, I should sit by the window, so I can have the sunlight on me, so I can have some vitamin D. As a Christian, I believe God speaks to us in so many ways. He can send an angel to speak to us. He can send people to come and talk to us. It speaks to us through the Bible. And sometimes one of the ways he speaks to us is through dreams. And when I was sick, I had a dream where one of my co-workers was telling me to drink milk. He in a dream, he said, drink milk, And so I'm like, well, but then when I drink milk, my stomach hurts, So there's no way I can drink milk, So when I went back to work, I was telling another co-worker that this is the situation, this is what happened to me, and then this is the dream I had that, one of the co-worker was saying I should drink milk in a dream. But then when I drink milk, my stomach hurts. And then he introduced me to the lactate, lactose intolerant milk lactate. And I started drinking that, and since then, I don't get these stomach pains and stuff. So I believe there are so many people out there who also have the same issue. So I will encourage you to buy this lactate and try it. It will work for you. It's working for me. I just put my 1 tablespoon of honey in a glass of, milk, and I drink it every day. And that has got me, healthy, So I will encourage us to do that. And my other testimony I want to share, long time ago, when I was a young boy in Ghana, I had a situation where I felt like I was dying. It's like when I lie down, it's like life was getting off of me. I couldn't breathe very well. So I got up and then I went and told my grandmother. And all she did was to give me a glass of milk. I started burping or belching, and that was it. I'm here now. I slept very good. That feeling went away. So there is something in milk that can help us in the fight against, all this respiratory illness, diseases, and all that. So I want to encourage us to make it part of our lives. If you are allergic to it, you can do the supplement for vitamin D, and it will help us. The main thing is that the disease is already here. The COVID-19 is here. What we need now is to find a way to prevent us from getting it. In addition to we praying to God to help us, in this situation, definitely He will speak to us and tell us the things we need to do. So in my case, I believe this is what is, the revelation that is coming in regards to how we can deal with this situation. Because like I said in my previous, in a video I did earlier, one day I was just asking, but what is so good about milk? What is so good about honey that God described a land when He was giving the children of Israel a land? He said He was giving them milk, the land flowing with milk and honey. So that means there is something good about milk and something good about honey. Probably to me was a revelation, that hey, this is how you can survive this situation. That is what I believe. Because if He helped me with the sinus infection, if He helped me with the cold, the flu, and all that, for at that moment, me having that thought, to look out for what is good about milk and what is good about honey, in regards to God calling the land flowing with milk and honey, it will be a revelation that is coming in regards to how we can fight against these diseases. Because prayers have gone forth. People have prayed. So I believe God is telling us something here, to help in fighting against this COVID-19, the flu. I'm a living, like I said, I'm a living example or a testimony of how milk, saved my life, of how milk and honey has, helped me, getting the sinus infection that I get almost like every year. So this is my testimony, and I want to encourage us to, make sure we have the vitamin D levels that we need, to balance our immune system, to boost our immune system, to be able to fight against all these respiratory illnesses, infections, and all that. All right. Thank you.